Now we go live to Brazil as presidential elections are underway in the South American nation. And our correspondent Brian Mier is there to give us more details. Welcome, Brian, from the South.
Hi, how's it going? Well, I'm standing in front of a polling station. It's Sion Catholic School, the place where the Workers' Party was officially inaugurated in 1980. And movement today is very intense. It's much more people coming in and out of the polling stations than there were 4 years ago when I also covered the presidential elections for TeleSUR. Now, yesterday was the last day of campaigning, and both of the leading candidates, former President Lula and Jair Bolsonaro, the incumbent, held rallies. Bolsonaro held a motorcycle rally, and former President Lula paraded down Augusta Avenue in Sao Paulo with thousands of people following him. The atmosphere was jubilant. He was in a car next to gubernatorial candidate Fernando Haddad, and I was there to cover the action.
Streets of São Paulo, Brazil, to join former President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva from the Workers' Party in his final rally before today's presidential elections, for which recent polls are predicting that he will come very close to pulling off a first-round victory.
Winning in the first round will create real hope for a new Brazil, a Brazil with no hatred, a Brazil of hope, a Brazil of love and prosperity, a Brazil for all Brazilians.
According to Brazil's electoral laws, if any candidate gets over 50% of the vote, the election is decided in the first round. Brazil's two most respectable polling agencies, Datafolha and IPEC, show him at 50 and 51% respectively, but there's a 2-point margin of error.
If Lula wins, and he will win, we are going to end hunger and extreme poverty in our country. Unfortunately, 33 million people are suffering from hunger, and there are millions of unemployed people, and we are out here on the streets because we want Lula to end poverty in this country.
Regardless of whether Lula will be able to pull off a first-round victory, the union and social movement activists who came out to support him and Workers' Party gubernatorial candidate Fernando Haddad are optimistic that his victory is only a matter of time.
The people know the difference between who really takes care of the people and who just lowered the price of food and fuel to gain votes, and who is just going to raise prices back to where they were before. So we have no doubt that the Brazilian people will vote expressively for Lula.
Brian Mier, TeleSUR, São Paulo.
Okay, well, that was what it looked like on the streets of São Paulo yesterday. Today, the mood is a lot more somber. People are more serious. Everyone's coming out to vote. I don't see any signs of conflicts between supporters of Bolsonaro and supporters of Lula, at least where I am right now in Higienópolis, which is an upper middle class neighborhood. Both candidates have already voted this morning. Lula voted in the industrial satellite city of São Bernardo do Campo, where he's lived for the last 45, 50 years. And he said it's the most important election of his lifetime, and that the Brazilian people want to end all of the hate. Meanwhile, incumbent Jair Bolsonaro voted in Rio de Janeiro, in Vila Militar neighborhood. He's expected to already be back in Brasilia or en route to Brasilia, where he's going to watch the results. Once again, he used the opportunity of voting to cast doubt on the electronic voting system in a move out of the Donald Trump, Steve Bannon playbook. It's widely expected that he's going to try to delegitimize the elections if he doesn't win. And all polls are pointing to the fact that he's not going to win today. The only question is, will Lula win in the first round or not?
I think maybe the other question is what we can expect from today. You were saying that this moment, so far, there is no confrontations, there is no violence, but there is no joy and there is no celebrations also. What can we expect from this day of voting?
Well, I was speaking with one of the leaders of the Central de Movimentos Populares, which is one of the largest social movement organizations in Brazil, working class leftist social movement organization. He says, if Lula doesn't win in the first round, the Bolsonaro supporters are going to treat it like it's a victory. They're going to try and have a celebration. And so because of that, all of the union members, all of the social movement members are going to go directly to Avenida Paulista, the main avenue in town, as soon as the count is over, in a show of force to show that Lula still has a lot of support, and that everyone's treating it like a victory, regardless if he wins in the first round or not. Because technically speaking, it is a victory if he wins, if he has the most votes, even if he doesn't make it to the second round. I mean, the polls are very iffy. There's a margin of error of 2 points either way. And so if it says 50%, they're really saying there's a 95% chance he'll get between 48 and 52. So it's really up in the air. That's why everyone is so tense today.
Okay, so Brian, we count on you to have more reports from the ground and from Brazil, of course, in this case, during the voting day.
Right, thanks a lot.
Okay, so that was